Hi, I'm Pierce McManus, and I like to make poached eggs. And today, I'm going to show you how you can do some prime poaching in the comfort of your own kitchen. You with me? Great, let's get started. Right now, here on the stove, I've got a pan on low heat, and I'm going to throw some Morningstar Farms original sausage patties. Now, these are vegetarian sausages. I know some people say that's impossible. They can't be sausages if they don't contain meat, but let me tell you, they're pretty good, and they're a great alternative to pork. Adjacent here, we have a pot of water that is simmering and has been simmering. Now, a lot of people ask me, what is the secret to your poaches? And quite frankly, it's this: white distilled vinegar. When I put the water on, I put a splash of vinegar in there, and I'm not a science guy, but there's something about the vinegar and the egg molecules that creates some sort of bonding action that creates that perfect poach setting. I'm gonna put that away. So I typically like to use farm fresh, free range brown eggs. The fresher the better. And I also like to chill them. Now they come out of the fridge chilled, obviously, because here in the States we keep our eggs in the refrigerator. But I like to kick things up a notch by putting them in an ice water bath. What I do is I will turn this down. You don't want the water at a full rolling boil. You want it more at a simmer. And we've been kind of prepping, so the water has gotten a little bit hotter than we'd like. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit, just so you can see bubbles coming up. You definitely want to err on the side of hotter rather than colder. I've made quite a few poaches in my day in water that wasn't hot enough, and as some of my poach consumers can tell you, they didn't turn out right. What is also helpful is using a ramekin or a coffee cup or a measuring spoon. I'm using this decorative bowl that was picked up on Kit Bartell's Overseas Adventures. So just bear with me as I crack the egg into the ramekin. I don't know if you can get a shot of that. So there we have it, the egg in the ramekin, and we're gonna delicately drop it into the water and get it to fold over onto itself, creating that incredible poach look. I'm going to turn the water off because you're going to let it simmer. We're going to drop it in, and fingers crossed this will go okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see if we can do 2 in a row. There's also been, I've tried approaches where you swirl the water ahead of time, which makes the eggs look a little bit more wispy. That's kind of hard to do when you do multiple eggs. Inevitably, one of the yolks separates. So I've, of late, taken the approach of just flopping them individually over on themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on that. I've turned the heat off, as you see, and we're going to set our timer for 8 minutes, and then we'll come back and check how these poaches turned out. So we'll be back right after this. All right, we're back with 25 seconds left to go and counting until these poaches are done. Now, in the interim, I've grabbed a couple of serving plates as well as a paper towel and a slotted spoon to retrieve the poaches. They're definitely going to come out wet. Obviously, they've been in water, and you're going to want to drain them before you serve them to that lucky poach eater. There we go. All right. Time is up. We'll turn off the kitchen timer, and we're going to take a look to see how these poaches turned out. Oh my goodness. Now, they all can't be gems. Inevitably, one is a finer poach than the other. And it looks like the first egg that I dropped in turned out a little bit better than the second, but I bet they both taste fantastic. So I'm going to remove the poach with a slotted spoon, drop it onto the paper towel, and let it begin to drain. And then I will repeat with the second egg. Now, the length of time that the eggs sit in the water, and obviously the heat of the water, will determine the consistency of the yolk. With the 8 minutes, I tend to go for a harder yolk with some liquidy yolk in the center, but generally the length of time, 8 minutes, they're definitely harder yolks. And the length of time is related to how you like your poach. If you like runnier yolks, definitely leave them in for less time. If you like a harder yolk and a well done egg, leave them in for 9 or 10 minutes. You'll also find that you'll have to experiment a little bit with the amount of vinegar excuse me, you put in the water. Too much, too little, just right. You'll learn over time as you make your poaches the right amount of vinegar. So while I let the eggs drain in this paper towel, I'm going to turn off the sausages, the vegetarian Morningstar Farm sausages. Take them off so they don't burn. Set them aside here. And that should be enough time for the eggs to drain. If you're really concerned about presentation, you can wipe the water that drained aside. We'll put a sausage on this plate. We'll unfurl the poaches. Put one there. My hands are clean. We'll put the other there. It goes great with some toast and jam and butter. It's very simple. It's a basic breakfast, but ladies and gentlemen, that's how you do a poach. We're going to take a seat and try them. So we'll be back right after this. There's only one more thing left to do, and that's enjoy that poached egg that you just spent all that time making. You know, I tend to think that they take longer to make than they do to eat. But you know what? All that hard work is worth it. Look at that. Look at that delicious goodness. I'm Pierce McManus. Make your poach a perfect poach any day of the week. Until next time, take care, be kind, and be well.